Hi students, welcome to the EVS class. In today's session, under the chapter of agriculture, we are going to know what are the stages of the growing crops and what are the types of the farmers and what are the problems they are facing and what are the solutions for that. So, I want to remember one song written by a famous Kannada poetry, that is Kuvempu, that is ನೇಗಿಲ ಹಿಡಿದು ಹೊಲದಳು ಹಾಡುತ್ತ ಉಳುವ ಯೋಗಿಯ ನೋಡಲ್ಲಿ ಓ ಫಲವನ್ನು ಬಯಸದೆ ಸೇವೆಯ ಪೂಜೆಯು ಕರ್ಮವೆಯ್ಯ ಪರ ಸಾಧನವು ಕಷ್ಟದೊಳನ್ನವ ದುಡಿವನೆ ತ್ಯಾಗಿ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ನಿಯಮದೋ ಅವನೇ ಭೋಗಿ ಉಳುವ ಯೋಗಿಯ ನೋಡಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳುವ ಯೋಗಿಯ ನೋಡಲ್ಲಿ So this is the famous song which is written by the Kuvempu, which explains the importance of the farmer here. The farmer is the only person who brings the food for us, isn't it? Because he is only the person who always tried, who always struggle for us in the field to make the food materials, to grow the crops here. So farmer is the main important person which is who we are going to get the food here, isn't it? So in our Karnataka, all the districts has their own food. All the farmers which are present in the different districts, they are going to grow in the region their own food. Comparing to the one district to the other district, the main important crops which farmers are going to grow in the different districts are different here. In our Gadag, the farmers are usually they usually grow the maize, jawar, isn't it? Such type of the grains are going to be grown in the Gadag districts. So the farmer are the main important person which provides the food for all the peoples which are present on the earth's surface. So we have to respect the farmer because we are getting the food from those persons only. So when we are going to consider when we are going to talk about the food will be comes from the plants and the plants that will be grown in the fields. But how they are going to grow, how the farmers are going to grow, what are the stages behind that will be seen now. The stages of the growing crops. First stage, it is ploughing of the land to grow the crops. So the crops are not comes very quickly. Here the lot of works are present in the crop production. So first stage of crop production, the first stage of growing, it is nothing but ploughing of the land to grow crops. Ploughing of the land means we have to make ready the land to grow the crops, to sow the crop. How we are going to make ready our land? In the land, large amount of the waste plants are going to be grown. We have to remove that waste plants, and also we have to make the soil very perfect to grow to sow the seeds here. So that is the process of making land ready to sow the seeds, that is known as the first stage of growing crops, that is nothing but ploughing of the land to grow crops. And the second stage of the growing crops, it is nothing but sowing the seeds to grow crops. Second step, it is sowing the seeds. So we are going to select the very good seeds to get a good yield here. We are going to select the good seeds. It may be a jawar, it may be a maize, anything, which material we want, which food material we want, that seed materials are going to be selected by the farmers, which gives more yield here, and that seeds are going to be sown in the ploughed land, the land which is ready for sowing. In the second stage, we are going to sow the seeds into the land. Then next, irrigation for the proper growth of the crops. After sowing it, the seeds need water. Seeds need water to grow the plants here. Therefore, in the third stage, we are going to provide the water from the from the ponds or from the borewells or from the rivers, and also sometimes the land is going to be get the water from the rain itself, isn't it? So that is the third step of the growing crops, that is nothing but irrigation for the proper growth of the crop. So irrigation means providing water to the seeds, to the crop, to the proper growth. To develop the proper growth of the seeds or the crop, we have to supply the water here. That is the third step or third stage of the growing crops. Then fourth step of the growing crops, it is nothing but using chemicals or agricultural fertilizers for a proper growth of the crop. Yes, now we are providing the water in the irrigation step, so all the crops will be developed here. But we will observe some of the plants are not grown much compared to the other plants. So to avoid this discontinuity or avoid this discontinuity in the growth, we have to provide some of the chemical fertilizers or organic fertilizers to maintain an even growth here. To increase the growth, we have to provide the chemical fertilizers and organic fertilizers in the fourth stage of the growing crops. So in next stage, in the fifth stage of the growing crops, we are going to provide or we are going to protect the grown crops from the insects, from the animals, from the birds, and also from the diseases. In the fifth stage, we are going to protect our seeds, our crops from the animals, because animals are going to disturb, they are going to disturb or destroy all the crops which are grown in the field. So in that case, in that condition, we have to protect our crops by the animals, and also we have to protect our crops from the insects by using some of the chemicals, pesticides. See, you may see in the fields or you may see in the lands, some of the farmers they are carrying a bag. In the can they have some chemicals. Using one hand they are spraying the chemicals for their crop. Why they are spraying that chemicals? Because to protect the crop from the diseases, to protect the crop from some of the insects, they are spraying some of the chemicals here. So this is the fifth step of the growing of the crops, that is nothing but protecting the crop from the animals, birds, insects, and also diseases here. And the final step, it is nothing but harvesting of the crops. Yes, now all the crops are grown very well and we get the crop here. At that stage we are going to harvest. Harvest means we are going to cut the crops, and with the help of the people, with the help of the farmers, or with the help of the machines, we are going to harvest the crops and we can get the seeds here. By the harvesting, the seeds are separated from the plants, and that seeds or grains are packed towards the shops. From the shops you are going to buy, and with the help of that food materials in your home, the food will be made here, isn't it? These are all the stages of the growing crops. See here, these all the growing stages of the in the stages of the growing crops, different types of the farmers are involved in all these stages. So we are going to classify the farmers into three groups. Those are farm laborers, small scale farmers, and large scale farmers. What are these three types of the farmers? What are those? Why we are going to classify these farmers into three steps? We can see here. First one, it is the farm laborers. So the farm laborers these are also the farmers. These are also working in the fields, but these farm laborers, they don't have their own piece of land here. They used to work in other lands. They used to work in other lands for the payment. And you have to remember, these farm laborers doesn't get the work throughout the year. They get the work in part of the year, and also therefore the income of the farm laborers is very less. So due to this, the life of these farm laborers, it is very difficult. So the farm laborers doesn't have a own piece of land, and also they don't get the good work throughout the year, and therefore their income is also very less here. And For to avoid the problems of the farm laborers, government has decided one scheme here, equal payment rule. So the equal payment rule or a minimum payment rule, with the help of this scheme, these farm laborers are going to get the good payment and work here. So why? Because these farm laborers are also farmers, but they don't have their own piece of land. They are working for the food for others, for other lands. Therefore, the government of India and state government has decided to make a rule for to help the farm laborers, that is nothing but equal payment act or minimum payment act here. So next one, it is small scale farmers. The small scale farmers are also farmers, but in this case the small scale farmers has own piece of land. They have the own small piece of land. With the help of that own small piece of land, they are going to grow the crops, and with the help of that crops, by selling that crops, they can lead their life. But in case of also small scale farmers, they have only small amount of the land, that the income which comes from that small land, the amount, the salary which is get from that small amount of the land, it is not sufficient for to lead the small scale farmers. Why? Because they don't have the good amount of the money to improvise their cropping system. Is it clear? So due to that, they don't have the capacity to buy the vehicles, the new techniques, or to adopt a new machinery activities in their land. They don't have the good amount of the money, so therefore they get a very less amount of the yield from the crops. From that, they get a very less amount of the money here, income here. So therefore they are also facing number of problems, like the fund, the problem of the fund, or the problem of the money to buy or to improvise their crop production. See here, but the government of India or the state government, with the help of the bank, they are going to support, they are going to give the suggestions, or they are going to help with the help of the giving some of the loans to the small scale farmers. Using that loan, the small scale farmers are increasing their crop by buying some of the machinery tools. And next, third type of farmers are nothing but large scale farmers. Large scale farmers has own large amount of the land here. Large amount of the land means about 10 to 15 acre, more than 10 to 15 acre of land they are owning here. And the farm laborers are works in the small scale farmers and also in large scale farmers land. The farm laborers are used to work in a small scale farmers land and also large scale farmers land. And also small scale farmers, after their work, completion of their work, they used to work in the large scale farmers. Why? Because a large scale farmers has a large amount of the land. So these two farmers used to work in large scale farmers. As they have a large scale of land, they have a good amount of the money in their home, and they are having rich families. Therefore they have the capacity to buy new machines like tractors, isn't it, new sowing machines. So they have the ability to buy the new techniques to improve their crop production. Therefore in the big land, they are going to utilize a new scientific crop production method, and they increases their yield. Due to the increase in the yield, the income of these large farmers are also increases. So they don't have any such type of the problems, and also they have the large amount, therefore they makes their own borewells here. With the help of the money, they are going to make own borewells in their land. With the help of the borewells and also canal systems, they provide the water to the crop and they get good yield here. With the help of the good yield, they get the good income. So this is the third type of the farmers, that is nothing but a large scale farmers. So these are all about three types of the farmers, that are farm laborers, small scale farmers and large scale farmers. So this is all about the what are the stages of the growing crops and what is meant by the farmer, what are the different types of the farmers and what are the problems they are facing and what are the solutions are given by the government here. In next session we are going to continue with different types of the lands here, different types of the irrigation lands. One it is rain fed irrigation land, another one it is irrigation land, that will be discussed in next session.